Welcome everyone to my presentation on reminders, calendar, and GoodTask. Basically, what this is going to be is more. I'm going to focus this primarily on GoodTask and how GoodTask solved a big problem for me. This is an app that I actually got through Setapp, and it's something that I've been looking for several years, and all of a sudden this one found it and I got really excited about it, and it's been working great for me. So I thought what I would do is I would share what I found out about it, what I like about it, and just show people how it helps me out with my productivity and all that. And what it actually did is it got me back to using the Reminders app. I was not using the Reminders app outside of groceries, so now I'm using the Reminders app. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be talking about it on the Mac, iPad, and iPhone. What I will do now is mute everyone. And if you have a question, just unmute yourself, and then we can, I run a pretty loose operation, as everyone knows, so just unmute yourself and ask your question. All right. So for those of you, well, we can just skip. There it is, GoodTask Benefits. Okay. I was going to say, for those of you who know who I am, I'm just going to skip over who I am. So I think everyone here kind of knows who I am, so we will just skip right over that. So let's get right into what I'm going to be talking about. So as you saw on the slide here, what are the benefits of GoodTask over top of reminders? Why am I using this app, GoodTask, over top of reminders and calendar? Actually, it works in conjunction with them. Well, let's go and take a look at the reminders app first and show you what I like about it, show you where its pitfalls are in my mind, and then we're going to do the same thing with the calendar app, and then we're going to see how GoodTask can kind of bring this all together. So let's go over to my Mac. And I'm primarily going to work on the Mac with this, but like I said, they also have an app for the iPhone and the iPad, and they're really nice apps. So I will be showing those off as well. So let's go with Reminders first of all. So Reminders is a nice app. Don't get me wrong. It really is. It works great, especially for like groceries and things like that. But the problem that I had with it is, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of the interface. I think they made things a little bit too hard to, I have to click too many times. So if I go over to Dan's tutorials and I want to change the date on this one, double click, then I have to go over here, and then I have to go over here. It just seems to be a lot of moving my cursor around, and it wasn't, I just, doesn't work well. Now I click again, that disappears, click again, and then, so there's a lot of clicking, a lot of things that I got to do with it. So like, okay, it works, but not really that great. The other problem that I have with it is smart lists. Now you can put a due date in here. You're going to see I have a few different lists here, and I have my inbox. This is where everything goes in the beginning. And then what I do is I try to, once a day, once every few days, move them down into the respective lists here. And I can see what is scheduled here. This is what is called a smart list. I can also see what is today. These are the things that are due today. And it pulls it from all of the lists. So it does a decent job of what, keeping track of what I want to do. But the big thing that I found out with it is their smart lists are what I call not that smart. So what you can do with this is you can go and add a list, and then what you can do is create a smart list. So you can go over here to smart list, and let's just call this a test list. So for those of you who are not familiar with the smart list, basically what this will do is this will create a list for you based on specific criteria. So I can say, give me everything that is due today and include past due. Great. If something that comes past due, it shows up in this list. And then I can go and add more criteria to it. Well, actually what I'd like to do is have it with only my high priority items in there. So now it's only things that are past due, so I could call this list high priority past due. Then I can go in here and add another one, and I can say only from the selected list. So let's just say it's only from Dan's Tutorials. Okay, so far so good. Here's where we run into the problem. I also want to add NMUG in here and Holland Arts Council. Those are my three things that I work on. So I can only add Dan's Tutorials here. Okay, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll just go and add another list in here. Whoops, can't add another list. So we can't make a list that includes multiple lists. To me, that was a little bit of a failure, because now what do I have to do? Build a high priority list for each one of them. So it didn't do what I needed to do. The smart lists were not that smart for me. So I went and did Todoist, and I've tried, Google Calendars and this, that, and the other, and got going somewhere, but it didn't, nothing ever, just a lot of things. You had to do everything just right, and it broke a lot. I just want to use Apple Reminders. So I went back to Apple Reminders, and I kind of got it set up to what I want. I use the Apple Reminders as a basic reminders here. So this is where the basic stuff goes. Now, the next thing is we have our calendar. So that gives me my to-dos, but this does not show me what is my events today, like my event that I'm holding right now. It's not in this list. I would like to have that included in here. I want to get a snapshot of my complete day. So if we quit out of this and we go over to the calendars, I can get what is going on today. So we have all of these different things in here, but there's no reminders in here. The other problem I have with the calendar is I would like to create groups of calendars. When I'm working during the day, I don't need to see my home calendar. I don't need to see the Los Angeles Rams calendar. I don't need to see all that. Now, I could go in here and uncheck them, but then I got to go and check them back on. You can't create a group of calendars. I think you used to be able to create a folder, but I don't see that anymore. The other thing that the calendar app used to do is show you your reminders in here. It used to be a complete app, and then they separated them out. So the calendar app works nice. I do like the calendar, the whole thing, the whole idea behind it, but I can't see my to-dos today. And I have to go in here and uncheck and check things and this, that, and the other. So kind of got me there, but again, not really. Now, what you can do is you can use something like, I think George is familiar with this, BusyCal. And BusyCal is good. BusyCal does have my reminders in here, and it has my events in here. So this does provide a solution that works. Fantastical is basically the same thing, and I do have Fantastical as well. You can go in here and tell it, I don't want to have the grocery list in here. I don't need the grocery list on my tasks. And you can go and drag these over to the calendar. So it does a pretty good job, and it gets me where I want to go. But what I want is a task-focused app. This is calendar-focused. So what I would like to do is see all of them and just all my tasks with my events interspersed in there, as opposed to my events with all my tasks in there. So again, it gave me a picture. It does do a decent job, actually does a pretty good job with it, but it doesn't do what I want. I want to have the opposite. It's always what I wanted is more task-oriented. Because I don't have that many events. So, but I have a lot of tasks, recurring tasks. I got to send out this email. I got to do this. I got to do that. So this didn't give me my complete picture as well. Oh, let's see here. I forgot to hit the slideshow. So we're talking about Fantastical and BusyCal. So this didn't give me my, with a typo, this didn't give me my complete picture as well. So once I joined SetApp, I saw an app in there called GoodTask. And with SetApp, the app they provide the Mac app, but you have to pay for separately the iOS and the iPhone app. And I'll talk about, you don't have to you can get it outside of SetApp as well. It's just how I got it. So when I go into GoodTask here, you're going to see a little bit of a different view. So let's go ahead and open up GoodTask. And now, oops, we don't want to see that window there. We can see, let's just make this full. We can see I have a nice list here. I have all of these lists, and these are very smart lists. You can see that it's pulling in my lists from the Reminders app, and it is pulling in my events from the Calendar app. So this is the view that I like. So what I can do is I can see here's my inbox tasks for today. Here's what I need to do at Dan's Tutorials. Here's what I need to do for my errands. And here's my groceries. And we can customize all that and do whatever we want. And I'll get more into that. I can click on one of these, and then I can go and add notes to it here. Just a nice, clean interface. I need to, I'm taking the trash out in an hour. Now it's there for an hour. I don't have to type in an hour. I can just click on a button. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do this 3 hours from now. Now it's just added another 3 hours to that. Maybe I'm not going to do it at all. It just clears the
And I don't know
date.
if you said this. Are you running 17, the beta version? What are you running on your?
I'm running macOS Sonoma on this, but
Oh,
it does
Sonoma.
work on older. Yep. And I am running iPadOS 17 and iOS 17, but this is not it's not a requirement for GoodTask to have those latest operating systems. So we have all these different actions here, which we can customize. I can go and prioritize it here. I can add subtasks, and I know I can do that with the Mac app, but I just use it here in GoodTask. So if I have an email that I schedule out, or I post a video, I can say, post it to the site, schedule an email. I have all those different subtasks right over here. So basically, I can get a nice little snapshot of everything that I'm doing right down here in a list format. This is what I was really looking for when, for all of my projects and everything like that. And on the iPad, it looks really nice on the iPad. So let's go over here. And I have it in my dock. Looks good there. So I can go to all lists. I can go, here's what's due today. And all I'm doing is just going to this sidebar here. Let me change the color of that. Just going to the sidebar here. And I'm just tapping on these lists. Here are the ones that are overdue. Here are the ones that are due within 3 days. This is stuff you can't do with the Smart Lists and the Reminders app. Here are the next 5 scheduled tasks. So if you have a long list of tasks, what you might want to do is just say, you know what, I only need to see the next 5, kind of thing. Or if you want to see everything in a list, you can do that as well. You can just go down and, just like in the Reminders app, I'm looking at all of my lists here. So it just gives me a nice overview of everything that I'm looking at. And right now I'm looking at today. But I can also look at the week, and we can see that it turns into a week view up here. And I can go into a month. So it's not a full-blown calendar. Again, I like the list style here, but you're going to see I have all of my events for the month in here. And then when I swipe up, here are all my inbox items. And there's my Dan's tutorial. So it all has all of that stuff, and it just filters them out by what I'm tapping on down here. And then on the iPhone, again, go and search for it here. Nice clean app. And I'm looking at it by day, but I can go and look at it by week. I can look at it by month. If I go over my lists, I can see all the different lists, and they all sync with each other. So everything that you do here syncs. There are a ton. If there's one thing that is a drawback to it, a ton of settings with this, and you can get overwhelmed. But the nice thing is these settings pretty much sync with all the devices. So once you set it up on one device, it carries over to all the other ones. So that's
And this is
a
not
big
shareable
plus.
with other people, is it?
I don't think so, but here's the beauty: because it's working with the reminders list, share the reminders list. It just works with the reminders list. So you mark something done on here, it's going to mark it done on the reminders list. You mark something done on the reminders list, it's going to mark it done on here. So fully compatible. I shouldn't say fully,
So
but it's for the most
I
part
guess I'm
compatible.
thinking if Kathy and I go Christmas shopping, it should do it right on the fly. If she finds something, and then I should be able to.
You could. Now, what I would do with that, and this is just my way of thinking, for that, I call that relatively simple stuff. What I would do is I would use a reminders app for stuff like that, because then you don't have to train someone else on how to use GoodTask. So we have a groceries list. Beth doesn't have GoodTask on her phone. We still use the standard grocery list in here. And in fact, what I can do, we'll just do this right now. When I go up to the settings here, what I can do is I can say, under lists and calendars, I can go and say, you know what? I don't want to include the groceries in here. So now those grocery lists are not in this list at all. So there's going to be no more groceries in here. So I can let reminders work only on groceries. And then all my other lists, whichever ones I select, I can let GoodTask do that. So there's no groceries in here because it all syncs. Frank, I see your hand is up.
Okay, I have an issue. Thank you. When you were in the calendar,
yeah,
there was, Dan's, let's see, where are we? Okay, Dan's tutorials. Now, what's on here is your subscription, your thing on the calendar for Dan's tutorials, but they're different. Are they different?
No, it's just this is my demo, so sometimes I subscribe and then I subscribe again just to see how things work, and I forget to unsubscribe from the other one.
Okay.
Nope, it is 100% me. So I should just go in here and subscription settings. Oops, go in here, get info, and
unsubscribe,
which I don't see where that is. Maybe it's
under
here. There it is. Which is why I don't do it, because I can't.
Okay,
but yeah, that's it.
A couple of same things, and I don't know how to. You can't unsubscribe from Dan's list, okay? And
you can.
I have 2 or 3 of them.
Yep.
Okay.
You can unsubscribe from all of them and then just have one subscription. Absolutely.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
So basically, what this does, what GoodTask does, is it just shows us our reminders and calendar events in a single view. That's what I really like about it. And I can go, like I say, back over the iPad and everything's there. So I'm like, little light bulb went off. This is pretty nice. This is what I want to do. Now, what we can do with this is we can change the view. So, okay, this is kind of nice. I can see that my inbox is here. I can see that my Dan's tutorials is here. But you know what? I want to see this in a chronological order. What do I have to do? I usually will put times on stuff. So I don't want to see them separated out. Well, we can do that as well. So when I go and edit this list, all I'm doing is editing this one list. What we can do is we can change the icon, give it a little bit of personality, the color, all that kind of stuff. But here's where I can say which lists I want to include, which calendars I want to include. Remember how we couldn't do that in the calendar app? I couldn't select. And with the reminders app, I could only select one list. I can go in here and say, this is my work list, and include all of these specific calendars, all of these specific reminder lists, and then it'll show it in this list here. I can include undated tasks, and again, this is only for this one view. So we can replicate this and just get all kinds of views in there. For the view, do we want it to be a day view? Do we want it to be a week view? What do we want it to be?
Yeah, Dan, let me interrupt you really fast.
Yeah.
You mentioned projects. I'm in the process of combining my household with my fiance and selling one of the properties and all that. Do you have, I don't know if you mentioned it, do you have tasks and subtasks? Can I do by date? How complicated can I make it?
You can get pretty complicated with it. We'll get into that in a little bit. I have a section on subtasks, so we'll get into that. Yep. So basically, let's just go and create a new list here. I have this list here, everything within 7 days. I'm just going to go and delete that, and we're going to recreate this. And I'm going to do this on the iPad since that one's pulled up, just so you can kind of see how I call it easy. First thing we need to do is create a new list. So I just go and create a new smart list. And what is this one called? I'm just going to call it 7 days. Within 7 days, or next 7 days, however you want to do it. Name. All right, what's the icon? We'll go with the monthly calendar there. What's the color? Oh, let's go with purple. And how do we want it sorted? I could have a due date first, priority, the list order. I'm going to go with the default, the due date. We'll just go with due date, updated, and then calendar events. No. You know what? I want it to be due date, calendar events, and then undated after that. So we can easily change how those are sorted there. So that's how it's going to be sorted. All right, which lists do I want to include? Well, let's just go with specific lists. I'm just going to go with inbox, errands. Well, we don't need those. What I need to do is just have my work. So those are what I work on. Calendars, specific calendars. Well, let's see here. My events, work, probably family in case Beth schedules something, so then I know what's going on. You can see I have Dan's tutorials in here a lot. We'll go with Tom Piper there, presentation. So you get the idea. You can go and add all of your calendars in there. The default view, we're just going to go with the day view. And then, how do we want to show the tasks? And with this, what we're able to do is have a relative date within the next 2 days, within, that kind of thing. So I just like to keep it simple. And I'll get into boards here shortly. You can also use tags. So that's going to show me all that. But now the next thing I need to do is I need to go and add a filter to it. So I set all the view up for that, but right now it's going to show me everything. I want it to be within the next 7 days. Add filter. And let's see here, scheduled. Within 7 days. And now, this new list here, we can see that it's purple, it has a calendar on it, and when I tap on it, it's all my events and to-dos that are going to happen in the next 7 days. And that is it. And being that it syncs, I can go over to my iPhone here, and you're going to see it's going to be down at the bottom. If I can type in the right code here. Go to my lists. There it is, down at the bottom here. And there they are.
And you can categorize lists any way you want. If I wanted to assign them to, even though I'm just the only one using it, I can assign Kathy tasks to do and myself and whatever. Just check off.
Yeah. Yep.
who's doing what.
Yep. And you can add tags to it and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. Now, what I also like to do is, I mentioned this earlier, I like to have all of my stuff grouped together. Right now, you can see that my to-dos are separated from my calendar. Again, I want to have this in what I would call chronological order. So we need to change that. We can do that when we go over to our settings, and let's see here, I think it is under appearance. And I told you there's a lot of settings in here. List, nope. Nope. Where it is? Maybe it's not. Let's go over to the Mac. That's where I usually set it up, because the Mac is just a little bit easier. So hide that, and we go to our. It's under sort. I knew that. I mean, I knew where it was. So I go up under sort here, and you're going to see it says separate calendar events. I don't want them to be separated. So now I go like that, and right now it's going to put undated at the top and then due date. I like to have that reversed. Due date to be at the top, and then the undated at the bottom. So now, when I do that, it should, let's try it again here, sort, separate. I don't want to separate due date. It's working on that one, so this must have a sort in here. Undated tasks, default view.
Just came through. I'll go in the other room here.
And let's see where that is. List. Let's quit. I'd say this is probably the biggest downfall, as I mentioned in the introduction. All of the different settings, but once you get them set, it works. But you have to go and tinker with these things. So I don't know why that is now not separating them, but over here you can see that it is putting them, mixing them up right with all of the other events.
The settings would go from Mac to iPhone to iPad, right? They're across the board.
Yes. Yep. So you're going to see with this one here, it is actually putting the overdue at the top, and it's mixing in my calendar events with my my other events. So I just must have something in this list, and I could go through one by one to figure it out, but we won't kill our time with that. But there is a setting to do that in there. So now this is pretty much the view that I have. Now I didn't talk about, there is one other view. So we have our list view, day, week, month, but there's also a board view. And the board view is kind of like the column view in reminders. Are you familiar with that? This came out this year. So I can go to the reminders app, and if I have sections in there, we'll go to the groceries here. What I'm able to do is change it to a column view, and then we have this column view like that. What is that, a Kanban view or something like that? Well, we can do the same thing here. So now what I'm able to do is see everything that is due today. Here's everything that's due tomorrow. Here's everything that's due after that, undated or dated, but it's just due after because I just have this set for the next 3 days, 7 days. And then here's stuff with no due date. So you can easily just change the view just by going up here and looking at, in a Kanban view. I think that's how they say that. So that's another view that you have with that. So Smart List we covered. Let's see here. What's next? Disappear. Okay, so here's where subtasks. What we can do with this is create subtasks. And we can do the same thing with the Reminders app. So I'll first cover the Reminders app. What we can do in the Reminders app is, let's go over here to Dan's tutorials, we can create subtasks in here. And the way that we do that is we just drag one on top of another, and that's all I'm doing. And now we have a subtask here. And that works pretty good. So you could, just create subtasks there. But what I like to do is I want to look at this task here and then see all of the subtasks with it. It's the problem with the Reminders app when they do this is each subtask also can have its own due date, and some people might like that. That's fine. It's not something that I want. I want a nice, clean kind of how I can work with it. So with this, let's get out of that view there. What I can do here is say the Reminders app. Let's see here. That's not the one. Click to show desktop. So this is a video that I need to record. So I go over here to Subtasks. This is where the disconnect is. Subtasks in GoodTask and Subtasks in Reminders do not talk to each other. So you're not going to be able to interlink those. So if you're using Subtasks, you need to use it in one or the other. All right. So with Subtasks here, what I would do is I would just go, you know what I need to do? I need to record this. Then I need to edit it. Then I need to publish it. I need to create the transcriptions. And then I need to create the titles. And I need to create the thumbnails. So now what I'm able to do is just kind of click on this and easily see where I'm at in that particular task. So I can just go over here and say, yeah, I recorded it, I edited it, published it, I created the transcription, I created the titles, and when I create the thumbnails, it marks it as done. It knows that all those are done, so it marks that complete task as done. And then what you can do with that is you can create a template with this. So I use the same thing on multiple videos. Well, I don't want to have to go in here and type in here. You can see that I'm a horrible typist. So I don't want to have to go in here and type these. It's painful for me to type. But you can create templates, and then all I have to do is just go up here and say, you know what, I need to create a new video, daily routine. It adds it in there. And then I go and type in the video, and it's going to have all the subtasks, everything in there that you need. So, and of course, those templates will carry off on all of the other devices as well.
Is there an Apple Watch app for this?
There is. Mm-hmm.
200.
Yep. Let's see, we talked about the list view versus the board view.
300.
That's these two here.
400.
All right, I'm going to mute everyone here again. And the next thing is something that is really powerful, and this is the quick actions. So what we can do here is I can add an hour to a to-do. So let's say, you know what, I'm not going to get at this right now. I can go and add an hour to it. I can go and add 3 hours to it just by clicking a button. If this jogging right here, let's go and make this one for tomorrow. I click on it. Now that's going to be due tomorrow. All I have to do is just click on it. You know what? I need to follow up. So let's go with shared passwords here. I need to follow up on this. What this one will do is this one will delete this, duplicates it. I believe that's what it does, is duplicates it, and then it puts an FU in front of it. It's kind of weird, but it means follow up. Doesn't mean the other term. But I go like that. And how many days? I'm just going to go 1 day. And you can see it disappeared. And if I go to tomorrow, there it is. Shared password. So I know that it's a follow-up. I click on it. I can go and add a tag. I can change it to a different list, which you can do right down here as well. So you have all of these different quick actions here. Duplicate it, all kinds of stuff. But the beauty of this is we can create our own quick actions. So when I go over to the preferences again, and we go over to quick actions, I can go and modify any one of these, or what I can do is create my own. So I could go add, and let's go with, it's going to mark it for tomorrow. So when I make this, what it's going to do is change the due date from today to tomorrow. And then, let's see, I'll get rid of that one. Then what I would like to do is add a tag for it. And what is the tag? Moved. And then I'd be able to create a smart list that shows all of my moved tasks. Can add more. Change the start date, put an alert in there. So let's go and put an alert in there. On. So when I click on this, what it's going to do is these three things. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go with this journaling here. And there it is. So put it to tomorrow. And it has an alarm. On top of that, it has a tag. So it's doing a number of different steps, applying all those different steps to that. So it all depends on how your workflow works, but you could create one for overdue where every day you can actually schedule these quick actions to run on a daily basis, and then anything that is overdue, it'll move it to today, and then you can have it apply a tag, and then that tag could be overdue, and then you have a smart list here that shows you all of your overdue lists, but probably a poor example, but they're no longer like truly overdue. It just keeps moving it forward. Now, eventually your daily list is going to get really long unless you check them off. But basically what it does is the whole thing with this is it just allows you to do so much more than what reminders can do. I look at reminders as a basic task management system, and that's great for most people. But if you have to do...
Hello.
How are you doing?
Mute everyone here again.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Just a minute.
That's
I got to make sure I'm muted here. Thought I was.
I thought I muted everyone. Guess not.
Dan, a quick question on the overdue. Like I said, I'm in the process of packing it up and selling a home and whatever. Will it alert me like, I have 5 days to do such and such, or have I done this and that? Maybe I don't want to see it, but it will have a pop-up alert.
Yeah, you can set notifications. Absolutely. And the other thing what's really nice about this is the widgets behind it. So I'm going to go over to my iPad here, and I set up a number of widgets. So I have 3 different widgets here. I mean, they have all kinds of widgets. So the first widget here just shows me what is due today with a monthly calendar. Okay, that's kind of nice. It's not like we can't do that with the calendar. Here, I can see it in a Kanban view. So I can see what's going on today, tomorrow, and after that. And then this one here is just a series of buttons for lists. So I want to open up everything that's due next. All I have to do is just tap on this, and when I do, that's what's due next. Okay, that's kind of cool. But you know what? I want to see everything that's due today. Tap on today. There's everything. Went straight to the today list here. So what we're able to do is customize these. So when I go and tap and hold on, this is how you edit a widget. You're going to see edit widget. When you go and tap and hold on that, what I can do is I can go and set what lists it shows, and then I can set what the view is. So we'll go by date, what the mode is. Let's go with compact. What the theme is, let's just go with dark. And we'll go black there. And now we have a nice dark view with that. Let's go to this one here. I can set what the mode is, what the color is, and then what the buttons do. So if I wanted to change this one to something else, I can go and change it to something else. These are just what they call favorites, and you can favorite any of your lists in there. So now what I have is easy access to all of my different lists without having to go into the Reminders app, or I'm sorry, go into GoodTask and then go and tap on the respective list here. All I have to do is just tap on the widget. And of course, these widgets are also available on the Mac, and it does have an Apple Watch app as well. So, but that, is basically, how GoodTask can take your reminders and your calendar and then put them together into just a single app. And it's task-oriented as opposed to calendar-oriented. I had, you would not be able to do any of this stuff with Fantastical, which is a great program. Don't get me wrong, BusyCal, great program. But you're not going to be able to get to, all these different lists and things like that, and get to these little quick actions here, all that kind of stuff with those two apps. And we're certainly not going to be able to do that with Reminders. Reminders is very basic, which is the Apple way. They just do the basic stuff and then let other people take, go to the next step with it. So that's basically what GoodTask does. So, does anyone have any questions on it? I mean, I know we've been kind of talking back and forth. Mike's had a few questions, but did I confuse people?
One question.
Yeah.
Is there in the GoodTask app, is there a way to assign duration of a task? In other words,
Good.
if you know you're going to have 2 hours or 2.5 minutes or whatever, is
Yep.
there a way to kind of get that informed?
Yeah, so let's go create a new task. Let's see here. So we're going to start bowling here, and that is for an hour and a half or 2 hours. Probably 3 hours by the time we all get done with it. We'll just put that in errands. I can add the notes. I can add the subtasks. There is.
Oh, I see. Up at the top at 3 hours.
That adds 3 hours. So that's the time that it is due. So, because with, excuse me, with reminders, you can't add a duration to reminders by default and the default kind of thing, which was a little bit of a bummer for me because I'm with you. I like to have the duration. Basically, what I try to do is I time block. That's my method of trying to get through the day. I know I'm going to spend an hour on this, and once that hour is done, I need to move on to something else because I know with me, I can go down rabbit holes of and then all of a sudden, so the time blocking kind of thing works for me. So that's exactly what I want to do is add hours. So first of all, with this, all of my tasks will pretty much have some kind of a due date on them. First of all, now we'll get into duration in a minute. If I go to the Reminders app, they do not have any kind of, generally speaking, I do not add any kind of time in here because it's, I have to go over here, and I have to click on a day, and I have to go and click on the time, and then I have to go and click on time, and then I have to go and click on this. Too long to do that for everything that I want to do. So when I go over here, and go back to bowling here, and what I can do is just go over here and we're going to start bowling. Let's just say it's there. And no, I do want a time in there. Still a lot of clicking. I go over here to 4 and it's not at 4 p.m., but there it is. So basically I've added duration. A lot of clicking in there to do that. But what you can do, I'm just going to clear this, no due date. And what I can do is I can just go over here and say plus 1 hour. So I have to, where to go? Let's try it again. Bowling, no due date. Oh, I'm in overdue. Here's where it's not showing up because I'm in overdue. Bowling isn't overdue yet. So I go to all lists And let's go, where is it? Bowling, there it is. So now what I'm able to do is click on this and I can say 1 hour, and now it's going to be doing an hour. Okay, so that's a little bit better. But also what I can do is I can put in here, I can create a quick action where I can type in a date. And also what you can do, let's see, this is for today. So if I go to all lists, we should have it in here. If I want to rearrange this, let's say I want to do this later in the day, I can drag this down here and it's rearranging those. So I can go and put this, and now just put it into a different list, put it in advanced tutorials, and I just go like that. So that's basically how I do it. I use the drag and drop method, because all that clicking, that's what I'm trying to get away from is all that. So what you could do is go to the day where you put your bowling in there, create a recurring task, and then put it at a specific time. Now, still not answered the duration yet. I'll get into that. The other thing that, let's see here. If I go to the lists here, I believe I can set a duration in here by default. All events have the same duration, or all reminders. And this is the Apple way of doing things. I can't set, if I want it to work with reminders, which I do want it to work with reminders because I love using Siri to add it to my reminders list. So I love the integration with reminders. Well, one of the pitfalls is that the reminders app does not allow you to have durations for the reminders list. So any duration that I add in here, it's going to be for a set amount and it's going to apply to all of them. Any reminder that has a date. So how do we do that? There is a, is that, no, that's where, yeah. List view, recurring tasks, subtasks. So we have all these different settings here. And you know what?
Yeah.
Let's go to the user guide. And I'm going to type in duration. Didn't have it in there. Now we're going to go at GoodTask Help. Duration. When you tap on a task, you're going to task, title of task, you tap there, edit, read more. There we go. Start dates, due dates, and duration. Settings, general. If you have a due date, if you change your start date, duration will be shown accordingly. If you change your start date, duration will be shown accordingly. I'm not sure that's answering our question.
No.
So I'm going to say it doesn't have it in there. I know you can do that with with BusyCal and Fantastical, but the way that they do it is when it puts it on the calendar, it puts it as an hour duration. Even if it takes 2 hours, all reminders are the same duration. So maybe because this is in a calendar view, they don't have it. That'd be my guess. So looks like it doesn't have it. Let's see if there's a quick action to add it. So if I go over here, oops, wrong one. Quick action, add, and today, duration, 1 day. I think that's the duration. How long is it going to, let's go, start date. Yeah, that's going to be the whole, like one day to the next, kind of like an event. It's not an hour or
How
2
long
hours.
the task.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that'll be the next iteration.
Yeah. And he seems to be pretty robust on keeping it updated. And if you go to the App Store and look at it, the reviews on it are really I mean, you just, once you figure it out, it really works well. As you can see, there's a lot to figure out. Like this guy, how is this not one of the top 5? And that was from 5 years ago, of course. And now I like to see them from the latest. There's a meh. Okay. Astounding, the best. Overcooked, great app, favorite. So for the most part, it gets great reviews. But the biggest pitfall is there's just so much that it can do, you can get lost. I will fully admit that. And a big clue to helping you out is this guy right down here, user guide. It just opens up in a PDF, and then you've got yourself a PDF. And you know, not to tout Setapp, but do I have it on here? I can then go to PDF Pals, which uses AI to parse. So I don't want to have to read through that whole manual, right? Where is this at? All right. So we need to save this, duplicate it, and where is it at? Where'd you go? I want it in my desktop. Okay. So now it should be on my desktop. Let's see. There it is. Okay, so now I have it on my desktop. Now I don't want to have to go and read through that, although it's really not too bad to read through it if you. It didn't put me to sleep, but I kind of like this stuff. So, but you can drop it in here, and it's reading it for you. It's using AI to read it for you. So once that gets done, what I'm going to be able to do is just ask it questions. It's using AI, and then it'll tell me, you know, how. So I'm going to ask it the duration. We're going to see what it comes back with. Once I ask it, can we create durations? So if it's anywhere in that manual, this AI, PDF Pal, will tell me. And the nice thing about this PDF Pal is it's local on your computer, and it is not getting any noise from outside of this PDF document. So you're not going to get all the extra noise. So if it's not in there, it's not in there. So can I set a duration for a task? The duration can be set using the start date and due date options. The start date option allows you to specify when the task should start, and the due date option allows you to when the task should be completed. So now, can we set it for an hour duration?
Alexa, turn on media room lamp.
You can set a duration for an hour, including an hour duration. You can use the next hour option to set the due time date to the upcoming hour. Okay, so there it is. It looks like you can. So let's try it.
Yeah.
So now, what was that, George? Test duration. And we're just going to do this manually. So let's see here, December 7, and let's go with 6:10. And now what I need to do is set an end time with it. So let's go and add that. And where do I set the end time? Where's the due date? Or where's the end date? I don't use that too often. So let's go and ask, where do I add an end date? Not share, but it'll work. To add an end date, you can use the date type setting in the app. Here's how. Open the GoodTask, go to settings, general, and the date type. Simple. Okay, so I have to set it to that advanced probably. Single date option. And okay, so let's go and do that. And this is where that PDF Pal comes into play here. So I go over here, and what did it say? General, and select Date. Advanced. Okay, so I did that. Due date. There it is. Done. And what's this one? Start date. There we go. So 6:10 is going to start. And let's go with 7:10 for end.
In a quarter of a mile.
And now it's supposedly it's set for an hour duration. I mean, whoops, I didn't set that right. 6, done. That's changing. Oh, that's the alert.
Changing both.
Oh, that's the alert there. So
In 900 feet, turn left on Huntingworth Way.
somebody's driving somewhere.
Turn left on Hunting.
Let's mute everyone.
George is the one.
But let's see here. So due date.
There's no time.
7. Let's try it again.
What is no time?
It's not doing it. Oh, no time means that you don't want to have a time on it. So it just doesn't have a time at all.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it says it will. It's something that I don't use, so it's hard for me to demonstrate it, obviously. But it says that it will do it. But I'd have to play around with that a little bit. So.
Yeah.
But this little PDF Pals is great for that kind of stuff. If you have a PDF, what you're able to do is feed it
that in the
that
App
PDF.
Store?
That's I don't know if it's in the App Store. It's in SetApp. I don't know if it's in the App Store. Let's see if it's in there. PDF Pals. Yes, it
Turn
is.
left on
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know how much it is.
Get. Nothing.
It said in-app purchases, so I don't know what that.
Turn right on Anvil Bluff
When you
Road.
get it through SetApp, there's no purchases because it's part of SetApp, but
Right.
probably not too expensive. But yeah, it's in the App Store, and I use that quite a bit for PDFs, kind of thing. It's relatively new, of course,
Good
with
deal.
the AI and all that, but it works
Well,
good
that
for
would
all
help.
kinds of stuff. So
It's a big help.
yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I hope I didn't confuse everyone. Like I say, it can do a lot. It can do a lot, but you have to kind of whittle through those settings in there. And it's not for everyone. I'll be the first to admit that. But if you do projects and have a lot of to-dos and things like that, it could be a solution that could help. So, and the nice thing about it is it does allow you to use Reminders app and the Calendar app. So you can still use the native Apple apps, which I want to do. So it allows me to do that. It just lets me, expand upon it, I guess you could say.
Yep. Good deal.
Any other questions? All right.
Nope. In
Next
fact, I gotta get
week-
going.
Yeah, same
Good,
here.
good go.
Like I say, I hope I didn't confuse everyone. Next week I will be out of town. But the following week I'm going to have one of my standard Ask Me Anything. So that's going to be on December 21, right before Christmas. And
Oh, boy.
so
All right.
that'll be on Thursday there. So
Drive safe.
thanks. Well, we're flying, but yeah.
Fly even safer.
Right. Yep.
Right to-
Stop recording.